What's up, everybody? So I thought I would make a video about me taking a political compass test. Now, if you see my videos, you would know I'm a pretty liberal slash progressive person, right? But you know what? Just to see how much and what I believe in, why not take this political compass test, right? So let's do it. Okay, right into it. So let's jump. So let's get right into it. Okay, so let's see. First one. If economic globalization is inevitable, it should primarily serve humanity rather than the interests of transnational corporations. Yeah, I agree with that. In fact, do I strongly agree? No, I think I agree with that because in one sense, look, to be honest, in one sense, transnational corporations kind of do serve humanity in one sense, but in another, they're detrimental. So at the end of the day, no, I don't think that they should primarily serve transnational corporations. They should serve humanity. Okay, so I'll agree with that. I'd always support my country, whether it was right or wrong. Now, there's two ways that I would interpret this. Am I interpreting it as, do I support my country despite that it sometimes makes decisions that are right or wrong? Or do I support my country when it's making wrong decisions? If it comes to supporting my country in its wrongful decision making, then no. So I'm interpreting this as, do I support my country even though sometimes it makes wrong or right decisions? I'm going to say I agree. Okay. And because of that question, where I'm not sure what they're talking about, I'm not going to choose strongly agree, but just agree. No one chooses their country of birth, so it's foolish to be proud of it. At, at first, just looking at that, I think it's true. Nobody chooses their country, so it is dumb to be proud of it. Why are you going to be proud of something you don't choose? But at the same time, I do believe that, it's okay to be like proud in your ethnicity. We don't choose our ethnicity. So, you know what I'm saying? So I'm going to go ahead and say disagree with that. Our race has many superior qualities compared with other races. I'm interpreting this as just like me and somebody else of a different race. Do I think that because of my race, I'm superior in a way? No, I don't believe that. So I'm going to hit disagree. Strongly disagree. The enemy of my enemy is my friend. I'm going to hit agree because if I have an enemy, that could lead to some kind of conflict down the line, whatever kind of conflict it is. And it's always good to have a friend that is on my side against that enemy that could, that could support me. So I'm going to hit agree. Military action that defies international law is sometimes justified. Ideally, you don't want to break international law, but just because of the fact that you have all these different countries around the world, each with their own cultures and therefore values and beliefs, it's hard for like this just international law to accommodate all of the countries of the world. So I'm going to go ahead and say that sometimes I think it's okay for our country to break international law. I think that's okay. So I'm going to hit agree. There is now a worrying fusion of information and entertainment. Fuck yeah. You have people like fucking Alex Jones spreading conspiracy theories. You have people like Ben Shapiro who sounds like he knows what he's talking about, but when you really pay attention, you look into the things that he's talking about, it's like, nah, there's a lot there that he doesn't know. So, and because of that, people believe it, right? Because they think that he knows what he's talking about. And so they just like take his opinions as like gospel. I think it is very worrying. And then you have like Donald Trump and other people spreading misinformation to people that are a little more gullible. Fuck yeah, man. That's really worrying. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and say I strongly agree with this. People are ultimately divided more by class than by nationality. So I'm going to interpret this as meaning in one country. If you're talking about nationwide, well, then of course people are divided by nationality. But if you're talking about like in one country, are people divided more by their class or by the country that they were originally born in? No, I think class is a bigger divider. Okay, so I'm gonna say I agree. Controlling inflation is more important than controlling unemployment. Ideally, of course, I would like to control both. But if I have to choose, I'm going to choose controlling unemployment. Because even if you choose to control inflation, but you have rampant unemployment, not good. So this choice, I'm going to choose unemployment. I think it's better to have more people working. So I'm going to say I disagree. Because corporations cannot be trusted to voluntarily protect the environment, they require regulation. Fuck yeah. Yes. Hell yeah. Corporations are going to, at the end of the day, going to do what they believe is going to best give them the highest profit. And if that means dumping fucking toxic waste into our local lakes, rivers, or just simply polluting our air around us, they'll do it. So yeah. No, they can't be trusted. Hell no. So let's see, because corporations cannot be trusted. Yeah, so I strongly agree. From each according to his ability, to each according to his need is a fundamentally good idea. While we don't have to have a society that functions, 100% off of this idea, I think that it should be like a base idea that can help make society better overall. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and agree with this. The freer the market, the freer the people. The freer the market, the freer they are to pollute, right? And to harm us in the name of profit. So no, okay? The freer the market does not equal the freer the people. No, I disagree. It's a sad reflection of our society that something as basic as drinking water is now bottled, branded, and a consumer product. Fuck yeah, that's sad. When I was a kid, everybody just drank out of the faucet. I mean, besides what you're paying for the service every month or every whatever, however many months, the water is essentially free and safe. All of a sudden, we're paying $1, $2 for a fucking 12-ounce bottle. That just goes to show how we've bought hook, line, and sinker into this capitalist culture where we now think like, oh, bottled water, that's the good kind. Like, no more tap water. The fuck is wrong with us? That shit is free and fucking safe. The fuck is wrong with us? Damn. What? Next thing you know, they're gonna be fucking bottling air. For real. Okay? And that would be more justifiable if you think about it because of all the pollution. If they fucking start selling air that's like more pure, I see more justification in that than selling bottled water. All right? So yeah, that's fucking super sad. So I strongly agree with this. Land shouldn't be a commodity to be bought and sold. This is a little tough one because ideally I think that if like I can make my own society, I would say no. But considering the society that we do live in and the fact that land can help generate generational wealth, I think it's important, right? So land should. So I'm going to say disagree. It is regrettable that many personal fortunes are made by people who simply manipulate money and contribute nothing to society. That's a tough one. That's a tough one because if they're doing this while hurting everybody else, I'll disagree. Or I mean, agree with this. Agree. But if they're doing it in a way that doesn't hurt everybody else, I don't see nothing wrong with that. So, but it seems that a lot of our economic woes does come from the way that people do manipulate the economy. But they're saying manipulate money. I'm going to go with a questionable disagree because I'm not quite sure what they mean. Protectionism is sometimes necessary in trade. I don't know a lot about foreign policy and trade and all that, but just a guess. Okay, so don't come back at me and be like, no, Alejandro, you channel, well, you were dead wrong. Like, I get I could be wrong. So I'm gonna go ahead and say a guess. I agree. Guess. The only social responsibility of a company should be to deliver a profit to its shareholders. If this question was, is it the only responsibility? Then I would say I agree because, well, that's what it is. But if it was up to me, should, right? That's the key word, should. No, of course not. Because if that was the case, they could harm the consumers because at the end of the day, the primary goal is profit for the shareholders. That's bad. So because of the word should, I'm going to say I strongly agree. The rich are too highly taxed. That's another one that I'm not sure about. I haven't looked into this in quite a few in some years, and I'm not going to look into it now. So, just a guess. I'm gonna say I agree. Just a guess. Okay. Those with the ability to pay should have access to higher standards of medical care. Now, I watched somebody recently do this. Okay, they made a video of them taking this exam, this exact same test. They interpreted it as, should people be able to get more care? Then I would agree. But it's saying higher standards. Just because you have more money to buy higher standards, you should be able to get more care, extra care. But I don't know about higher standards. I think that in an ideal society, healthcare should have its highest standards for everybody, right? Not just because you can, like, here's some more money here, give me some higher standards. Then the doctors be like, oh, okay, now I think that my standards for your health are higher. No, right? Can I give you more service because you're paying extra? Yes, but that's not what it's asking. It's asking higher standards. So I'm going to say I strongly disagree. Governments should penalize businesses that mislead the public. Of course. Yes, I agree. A genuine free market requires restrictions on the ability of predator multinationals to create monopolies. I would say so, yes. Agree. Strongly agree. Abortion, when the woman's life is not threatened, should always be illegal. Now, the same person that I saw take this test looked at this and then asked, oh, but what if it's like late term? Then that would be sometimes. But this is saying always. So no, I don't think that women's abortion should always be illegal if their life is not threatened. No. Okay, so I'm going to say strongly disagree. All authority should be questioned. I think that we should question authority. Okay, now don't get me wrong. When I say that we should question it, it doesn't mean that we should always be skeptical. I think that for me, the way I interpret questioning authority means to think about it, right? Think about it. So, for example, if a doctor says, you can go out in public during the height of the pandemic, COVID pandemic, if a doctor says, you don't need to wear a mask, it's all political, you should think, oh, but most fucking doctors think that masks help you stay safe. That is you questioning his authority, right? So you use your intelligence, right? It's very unlikely that most doctors are gonna be intentionally misleading. See what I'm saying? So So while it sounds kind of like, oh well, you're just depending on the consensus. Yeah, that's kind of how it works, right? We tend to believe when more people believe something, that's not just like this random belief, but that they're supporting with evidence. You want to go with the consensus, all right? So for this, I'm gonna say agree. An eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth. Nope, this strongly disagree. Taxpayers should not be expected to prop up any theaters or museums that cannot survive on a commercial basis. Museums are important, I think, to our culture, and often museums cannot survive on their own. So I'm gonna go ahead and say should not. I disagree. I think that I think that it's okay for us, for our tax dollars, to support, our local museums and things like that. Schools should not make classroom attendance compulsory. Disagree with that. Of course, people should be going to school. All people have their rights, but it's better for all of us that different sorts of people keep to their own kind. I disagree with that. Good parents sometimes have to spank their kids. Yeah, I think that good parents have to sometimes spank their kids. Here's why. So there's four things that research has shown to help children behave, okay? That's consistency, setting examples, leading by example as a parent, setting clear rules, and praise. The problem is that for parents to do all these four things, they typically have to be educated and know that this is what they got to do. And it's also a little it takes time, patience, and some know-how to do these things, right? So when you have parents that maybe don't know these things, or have maybe, for whatever reason have trouble being consistent, right? Being consistent or leading by example, then I think that spanking, that they should be able to spank their kids. Because if a government comes in and says no, you can't spank your kids because research shows that you got to do these four things, but these parents are not equipped to do all these four things because they all have to be done, right? Then that's bad. The children are not going to respect the parents, right? Because they're being inconsistent, maybe. But then they're also not spanking them, right? There's nothing to fear. So yeah, I'm gonna say that good parents sometimes. I'm gonna say I agree. It's natural for children to keep some secrets from their parents. I think it's natural. Yeah, of course. Possessing marijuana for personal use should not be a criminal offense. Of course not. Strongly disagree. Oh wait, strongly agree. That's what I meant. The prime function of schooling should be to equip the future for the future generation for jobs. I disagree with that. What has been happening to our educational system is it's becoming co-opted by private business. Okay, when that happens, then you get an education system that just focuses on preparing you for jobs instead of making you a well-rounded and educated person to better participate in a democracy. See what I'm saying? So I think that the primary purpose of education is to make us into functioning members of society, and to maintain our democracy, right? When you have a less educated population, democracy is under threat. When you have a better educated population, democracy is stronger. So while one of the functions should be, of course, to prepare us for jobs, I think that it's more important to just to teach us to think critically, to question our government, and to understand social life better, right? So I disagree with this. People with serious inheritable disabilities should not be allowed to reproduce. Of course, that's Disagree. The most important thing for children to learn is to accept discipline. Um, I think it's important, but I don't think it's the most important. So of course, I disagree. There are no savage and civilized peoples. There are only different cultures. I agree with this. I did. Look, at the end of the day, savage or civilized is based off our own cultural interpretations. Okay, for a culture that lives, a hunter-gatherer culture that a lot of people in our society would deem like as savage, they might interpret us going to war and killing millions of people as savage. See, and that their outlook on life compared to ours is dictated by our culture. So yes, there are different cultures rather than savage and civilized people. Okay? Civilized and savage is a cultural ideal, right? It's socially constructed. So with that, I'm gonna say I strongly disagree. Those who are able to work and refuse the opportunity should not be expected to should not expect society's support. Yeah, I strongly agree with that. Sure, right? I agree with that. Our social safety nets should help people that are unable to. Okay. When you're troubled, it's better not to think about it, but to keep busy with more cheerful things. The reason I'm going to disagree with this is because if you do that, it's like ignoring a problem. It's going to come back around to bite you. So, no, I disagree with that. First generation immigrants can never be fully integrated with their new country. Yeah, they could. They could. This is never. Forget the fact, or I don't even know if it's a fact. I don't know. Okay. Forget the possibility that most immigrants can never be fully integrated. Right? This is never. So whether that's true or not, and I don't know, I disagree with never. Of course, somebody can come from an immigrant can come and be fully integrated. Of course, they could. So I strongly disagree. What's good for the most successful corporations is always ultimately good for all of us. What if it's good for a corporation to be able to pollute our air or our lakes or our rivers? See what I'm saying? Not good for us, right? So of course I disagree. Strongly. No broad and I got a stuffy nose. No broadcasting institution, however independent its content, should receive public funding. I think that's okay, but the second they start to like have a bias either way, then funding should be pulled. So I'm gonna say I agree. Wait, no, disagree. Sorry. Ooh, I'm reading page 4 from 6. Okay. My can you hear it? My voice is starting to like when I talk a lot. I don't know why my voice gets tired. That's weird. I think I need to go to the doctor. Is that normal? When you talk a lot, does your voice get like tears? Does your voice start to get tired? I do. I don't know why. Our civil liberties are being excessively curbed in the name of counterterrorism. I agree that they've been curbed excessively. I don't think so. So I'm going to say disagree. A significant advantage of a one-party state is that it avoids all the arguments that delay progress in a democratic political system. Can you imagine if we just had one party where the members were not always like trying to just like outdo each other, keep them from passing something, which is like side taking. I don't know, so it's just a guess that it's probably true. So I'm gonna say agree. Although the electronic age makes official surveillance easier, only wrongdoers need be worried. No, I disagree with that. The death penalty should be an option for the most serious crimes. Considering that it, according to research, the death penalty does not seem to deter crime at all, what's the point? So I'm going to say strongly disagree with that caveat, right? With the fact that research does not show the death penalty as you know as being an effective deterrent. Why? So no, strongly disagree. In a civilized society, one must always have people above to be obeyed, above to people above to be obeyed, and people below to command. I can see that this can be an outdated concept because we technically could do things democratically. Now, you might say, well, isn't like our president in a democracy the leader? Not necessarily, right? They've been chosen. So, and we're not really leading them. If you really think about it, our president is our follower, or all our chosen political so-called leaders, right? In reality, there are followers. They're not our leaders, okay? They're following the overall social sentiment when it comes to the decisions that they make. So, as natural as it might seem that we need like people at the top to make the decisions and the people to follow, I don't think that's necessary in a civilized society. Abstract art that doesn't represent anything should not be considered art at all. I disagree with that. It could be shitty as art, but it's still art. So I disagree. In criminal justice, punishment should be more important than rehabilitation. Fuck no. No. Punishment, that's our system is a retributive justice system. Yeah, we have like the highest recidivism rates, at least in the developed world. Okay, where countries that take in a rehabilitative justice system have lower recidivism, and their criminals end up being able to, to go back into society as functioning members of society that never commit or that never go back to prison. So, I strongly disagree. It is a waste of time to try to rehabilitate some criminals. No, it's not a waste of time. Here's why. While you might try to rehabilitate a particular criminal and they never are rehabilitated, it's not a waste of time because you should try to rehabilitate every criminal. See that? We can't be like, oh, this person did this. No, because we never know, because the rehabilitation ultimately comes down to the criminal's personal experiences and right, see what I'm saying, it just comes down to their own personal experiences. We should always try to rehabilitate everybody. Okay, so strongly disagree. The business person and the manufacturer are more important than the writer and the artist. I disagree with that. Strongly disagree. Okay, you might say, well, you wouldn't have a business, but then you wouldn't have a business either way. So no, I don't think. See, the way that we look at the world in a capitalist society, we tend to think that the people that create the businesses and that are able to sell and distribute are more important. But no, right? Do we have to look at this in a capitalistic lens? We don't have to, right? And even if we do, we can take a little, sub lens and be like, okay, well, if it wasn't for the writer or the artist, there would be no business. So, strongly disagree. Mothers may have careers, but their first duty is to be homemakers. I don't think so. No. The reason why is because it could be the father's first duty, right? That's why. Because it could go either way. So that's why no. So disagree. Multinational companies are unethically exploiting the plant genetic resources of developing countries. I don't know. I really don't know. I don't know about this. So this is going to be just a guess. I agree. Just a guess. Making peace with the establishment as an important aspect of maturity. Oh, making peace with the establishment is an important aspect of maturity. I don't know. I'm gonna say I disagree with this. I'm not quite sure. It's kind of hard to say. Oh my god. Okay. Astrology accurately explains many things. Of course not. I strongly disagree. You cannot be moral without being religious. Strongly disagree. Charity is better than social security as a means of helping the genuinely disadvantaged. Strongly disagree. Some people are unnatural, or some people are naturally unlucky. Strongly disagree. I don't believe in luck or that like people are like more lucky than not. It's important that my child's school instills religious values. No, strongly disagree. Sex outside marriage is usually immoral. Disagree. A same-sex couple in a stable, loving relationship should not be excluded from the possibility of child adoption. I disagree. According to research, the children and their life chances, their attitudes are identical to heterosexual couples. So I don't see a reason for that. Okay, so I'm gonna say disagree. Oh wait, should not be excluded. Oops, I agree. Should not be excluded. Right? Let me read this. A same-sex couple is in a stable, loving relationship should not be excluded. Yeah, I agree. Pornography depicting consenting adults should be legal for the adult population. Of course, I agree. What goes on in a private bedroom between consenting adults is no business of the states. Of course. You know, I saw Michael Knowles take this test. And when I saw him come to this question, he read it, he was like, well, I don't know. What if they're like smacking each other and beating each other up? Motherfucker, it says consenting adults. That means that they're both willing. That's what they both want to do. Who the fuck, like, and he said no. Like, what a dumb motherfucker, man. Of course I agree. Strongly. No one can feel naturally homosexual. Of course I disagree. I think that homosexuality is natural. These days, openness about sex has gone too far. Of course not. It seems that the more people are open about sexuality, that the better results we get, right? You get less teen pregnancies, STDs are STD rates go down, unwanted pregnancies go down, all of it. Okay, so I don't see a negative in this. So strongly disagree. And finally, we're done. Let's see what I got. Huh, interesting. Interesting. I was expecting to be more libertarianish. I don't know why it wasn't. So, okay. So definitely left, definitely more to the left, significantly more libertarian than authoritarian for sure. So that's where I'm at, guys. Left, libertarian, outskirts of the center. I don't know what I'd call that, right? I don't know what I'd call that. So that's what I got. All right, guys, if you guys were wondering, that's my political leanings. Peace out. Have a good one.